Hi everybody, hello. I'll be watching how you come in. Okay, hi Brian, hi Joseph, Nancy, Steve, and Varun. Thanks for being here. Let's wait a few more minutes and we will start. And as we usually do, I open the chat conversation here. And I say, welcome everyone. Everyone. And then I say hello from Houston. Okay, and Santiago, Chile. Okay, that's what we have here. Very nice. I will share the screen right here. And I really appreciate you guys. You come and you spend your time here. And the result is that we all, I think, get something out of it. But honestly, I get a lot, because I can share. As somebody commented on LinkedIn, he said that he likes how I use this approach of just saying anything I want. Of course, we're talking about advances in AI, but giving my opinion and build using the community to build something, to build our knowledge. That is, I would call it to make a fool of myself. If you want to say that, that works. Because I tell you what I'm doing, I tell you what worked, what didn't, and I'm trying all technologies. In other words, when I say what is special, our advances in AI, what is special is that I tried that. Okay, Woodland, Texas is, you guys may think that it's far away from Houston, but it's part of Houston. So I'm giving you the link. That is a bit.ly link. Here. And somehow this is my screen, but this webinar is kind of a new technology now because they changed the interface. So what I want to do is share again because I think I lost the share. Okay, share again. I hope you see my screen. But in any case, that leads me to tell you something, and that is that I will attempt to switch to YouTube Live. Tried it yesterday. It was with the help of Ashish, who was pushing me that way. That's great. I still am not sure that I am sharing. So what if I do this? If I stop my video and share my screen, I'm honestly not sure how that works. Oh, I know. That's it. I've done it. Now I share the screen. Okay. And we can continue. Here we are. You see my screen. Now I'll do the video as well so that you know it's me talking, not somebody else. Well, okay. So that's what I want to do. We'll talk about Codex. You surely saw that. Codex came out, I think, a week and a few days ago. So if you go to chat GPT/Codex. Okay, then you get that. So I'll tell you what it is, at least the advertised part of that. And then I'll tell you I started great. And I mean, it's very exciting. Okay, so what this codex does is gives you a big group of programmers. By the way, I don't see why they don't explain what it does, but okay, I explained it myself. So what it does, imagine you have a pretty large group of programmers. All of them are AI programmers. All of them come to you if you are part of, well, why don't I ask? What is Open AI Codex? I think they will give a very short instruction. By the way, I'm using this chat GPT-03, which is most advanced, and it's thinking and explaining its thoughts. That's what I found as very useful. That's very encouraging to me because I can see what it is thinking about. And that inspires me. So I do the same thing, but essentially it is telling you, give us a programmer group, give us the tasks, and the way you give them is by putting a proper documentation. Varun, the session is being recorded and you will see it next time after we edit it, or if it is on YouTube, then it will be recorded right away. There will be a channel and you will be able to see it pretty much right away, if that was your question. So what Codex is a group of programs. Now it mentions which things I worked on. You can go and assign tasks. What you will do is you will assign a certain ticket to a group, and then it will come back with, I've done it, and it will do a PR, pull request. You will be able to review the code that they've done. You will be able to approve that and merge it into your code. So then I asked a big question. What is the difference between OpenAI? Because you can do a lot of coding. This is all the coding I'm doing with the OpenAI. And the answer, I think, is this. When you're discussing architecture, when you're thinking, well, I want to take my project, because I'm really working on exactly that. I'm taking my Freed project, which is for e-discovery, but it is also a generic problem. Absorb all my data and allow me to search an AI chat to that. Okay, so with me, it's currently a monolithic application. Well, I myself teach never to do it, but that was 10 years ago when I did it. So now I'm doing a complete refactoring, complete redoing. Yeah, I will post YouTube channel later because it doesn't, well, it exists, but it has nothing there. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm taking read. I think I need to show it to you in GitHub. So I go to that repository. That's the one. And now I immediately started creating those issues. Here you are. I noticed that it uses a certain style. So I asked why? Why do you use that particular style? He said, don't you know? That is somebody recommended in 2011 that you should do very detailed in your documentation like this. I want to create a first new microservice. I'm breaking that into microservices. And it said, well, write a decent description. And it wrote that decent description for me. How nice. That teaches me how to do the programming today. And it's a shame I'm teaching how to do programming as part of my job, but I'm learning a lot from them. They also told me, go ahead and create ADR. ADR, it said, is an accepted in the best teams, accepted method of writing the documentation first. So I wrote the documentation first, and I mentioned it in here, and I'm promised to be on the level of exactly that. So I got so excited that I immediately veered into that, but my subject was how exactly do you work with codecs? That's how you work with two things. You work with ChatGPT. Well, not necessarily that model. They say great things about Anthropic and all other models. I'm sure they're up to par. But that's where you discuss the architecture, the approach. Ask any question you want. You will not be looking silly because nobody will see that. And when you are ready, then you divide your work into individual issues. And these individual issues, you give it to Codex AI. Now, Codex goes away for 5-10 minutes. That's how long it takes them. Comes back with the new code, and then it's a PR, it's a pull request, and then you can just merge that, review and merge it. I also noticed they use so many abbreviations. But okay, I asked, what does it mean? What is ADR? I never heard about this. What is a PR? Sorry, in your context, I didn't know what PR is. Okay, so that's my experience working. I started by redoing my very first AI project. My very first project was taking a bunch of texts and just talking to them. That's nothing special. And it is 2 years old. That's when I saw that boy. I have not even visited it for 2 years. Okay, so I'm doing that first. That's number one. And I hope I can do it in just a day or two. Then my plan is to re-engineer this. All of the issues going to microservices, scaling. I have a way to scale either in the cloud or I actually also have an enormous software. Let me show you. So some people give me their software like that. If I want a giant database with all the amazing things, well, it's here for me. And if I want a LLM, giant LLM repository, here it is. And in fact, they gave me an account, which looks very much like Hugging Face, but it's all in another language. In any case, done. That's what I'm doing as far as using Codex, and I'm sure I plan 2 weeks to re-engineer, redo the whole project. It will be all microservices based, and it will also be a humongous, scalable. So I'll be reporting as I go. That was number one. I see somebody raises the hand. What I'm asking you to do is if you want to speak, I can give you the mic, or you can always chat. Chat, please. And I also think that on YouTube, there is no way for the audience to speak up. So you would have to do the chat over there. I think it is still okay. All the other advantages of YouTube Live are obvious. It was very nice. Okay, now let's go and look at all the courses, all the questions that there were. Can you say how much better Codex for working than OpenAI? Okay, that's a great question, Steve. And I asked this question, I discussed that with ChatGPT, and these are for different things. Okay, so Codex AI is to discuss approach, to discuss architecture in general. That's what OpenAI for. Codex is to work on specific tasks that require code. You can still do all of that. You can still do all of that in OpenAI. But with Codex, you actually give it the repository. So you open the repository to them. It can be private repository, but they will have access to it. Now, they will not do anything wrong. They will not overwrite anything without your permission. So they will always issue a PR, pull request, and then you will be reviewing that and merging it. They also build a Docker container. So they bring you into modern age, at least as far as this application is concerned, because that's what I should be doing. It should be in the Docker. It should be on test, and they explain how it should be on CI, continuous integration, because you will be using the GitHub that offers you continuous integration and testing service, and you will be using that. And that, of course, that's what I would recommend others to do. And now I'm doing that. Now I'll mention just one thing. When I first wrote this freed, by the way, this freed. So if I look for open source e-discovery, okay? If I just look at that, you get it, you see all of this sponsored, 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 sponsored. The first that is not sponsored is right here. So natively, I am the first result on this search, and that's been for 10 years. So when I open source that, I was very nervous. Now people are going to look at my code, and I have never done it. Well, now it's the same story, except that people were nice. They were not saying, Mark, you really don't know how to architect. That's what AI is telling me. It's telling me, you don't know. You teach it maybe, but you don't know. And that's what I'm learning. Of course, I will be reporting you the progress every week. All right. Now, 2 new courses. Okay, Paul, one, before I go away, let's read that what Paul says. If codex does appear, does it mean it forks the repo? No, instead, you give them access. No, it does not fork the repo. It works in your repo because you give it access. By the way, what okay, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it does require fork. I cannot say, well, let's look. Let's look at my project. We're looking right there. Okay, I'll close all the rest. That's too much. And I will open my repo that I am working with ChatGPT on that. Well, sorry, with Codex on that. Here, let's look at the forks. Can we see all the forks? And is there a fork? I don't know. You know what? That's a good question. What if I do this? Okay, I think they have a special extension. So what I will do is you need it much more in depth. That's what I will do. If you're interested in that. And yes, I am using a certain paid version. So not everybody maybe has access. Deeper look to work with content. That will happen next week. Okay, now I can say wait till next week. But going back to this week, first of all, there is a guy who created a new course. How do you do AI with Java? All right. So, by the way, this is the learning path. Some people, when they come here, they ask, "Okay, sounds good. Where do I start?" This is where you start. Okay. That is a list of all the courses. And the amazing thing is that all these courses are different from each other. So there's about 100 by now. That's how many. There you are. And that's the last 2 that I'll be talking about. This is by Jules White of Vanderbilt University. And that's the course. That's the structure of that. That is the course itself. And that is the same course in my repository. Now I have to say something. I just didn't get why do you want to do it in Java? It's only, I think, if you're so much used to Java. When I saw the code, and the code is right here, you can even open it. I really thought, oh, Java is limiting. It's not really. There will be at least pictures here explaining the whole story. But I'm sorry for my opinion, but I would say that I saw no big reason why you would do this. Why you, yes, you can do Agentic, you can do it with Java. It's nice to look at it, it's nice to listen to the lecture. It refreshes your knowledge. I still didn't see the big reason why you would do it in Python, especially today, because AI will write your code in Python. So, sorry, Jules, I didn't see the reason for this course, even though I enjoyed it. Okay, now I'll look at the chat here. Okay, the next, there is another new course. It's about reinforcement, fine-tuning LLMs with GPRO. Now, what is this idea? What is GPRO? Let's look, because that's not such a well-known abbreviation. Here you are. So that's what is it? It's a GRPO. That's misspelled. GRPO, Group Relative Policy Optimization. Well, that still doesn't tell you much. It's a new reinforcement learning algorithm. Okay, that is open. The technology for that is open, and what you do is a different way of training. It's similar to RLHF, but it 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 works a little bit differently. Now, why would you want it, right? Here you are. The question is, why would you want it? That would be the course, that would be the repo. And the answer is that, yes, you can keep using ChatGPT. Well, it costs and it's proprietary. You send your data to them. What if you want it local? What if you want your databases for a specific purpose? What if you want to control your model? This is where that comes in. So it's not for every need, but it's a good idea to have it too. So if we go back and look at what ChatGPT said, I said when do you use it? By the way, that's connected to DeepSeek, so it's their idea. In other words, if you want a local model and if you want it trained and fine-tuned in your special way, then you can look at that. Here we are. You can look at that, and it will be a good example. So I already told you that all these courses, if we go back to our courses education path right here, that they're all different, that they don't intersect. They all bring you knowledge. That makes the amount of knowledge, well, you can even say daunting. You would only agree with me that Andrew A has proposed a way of life, and the way of life is knowledge, acquiring knowledge. Then it works. If you decide, yeah, I'm going to learn something every week, and come here, not necessarily have to come here, but that's one way. You can come here and go through latest courses or just chat and what should I learn next. That will work. But I would say that if you don't do it, if you don't learn, then you have little chance understanding what's going on. Okay, you will be on the level of journalist who wakes up and chats to ChatGPT. Sorry to mention them in this context. Okay, I see some little chat. You might want to avoid Python on for premises on premise installation, and you want not want to give, yeah, Paul, that's why would you want it? And then you're giving me a groovy, okay, so I will look at that definitely later on, but we are moving. So we asked ourselves, what's new? Well, what's new is that you can do it in Java, this agentic. You can also train locally and improve. And I'm sure that's by the way a good company. It's called here Predibase. Okay, so they explain why they exist. I'm sure they also convinced enough funding platform. Okay, so that's why you may want it for some of the projects. All right, now let's go back. Here we are. We had a question that was coming up. Question was from Stephen McKinney, and it was, let's talk about multilingual. Well, let's discuss it. I discussed it with ChatGPT, but what's your philosophy? So if I ask you again here on the chat, the perennial question, is AI bad or oh? And for the starter, I'll tell that Andrew Ng said it's not that AI will take away programmers' job. It's the programmers who are using AI. They will take away the job of the programmers who are not. That was Andrew's statement, but it also assumed that, yes, definitely. So Andrew Ng definitely. Because it's your friend, it's another programmer. You are different. Your next question here becomes, well, if I'm different, who am I? What? How am I a regular human? How am I different from AI? Good question, and that's what I think AI asks us. It asks, well, and who are you? But for the practical applications, Andrew looks at it as a friend, a must-have friend. I wonder what you think. So I'll ask that. I often ask it in my class as well because it's a okay. It's good legal question now. Very relevant. All right. If you want to answer something, you can. Now back to those models. I did ask Chat. Let's look at what it had to say. It did the research. It's a ChatGPT o3 model. And as a bottom line, he said, yes, that is for 24 European languages plus, I'm trying to close that, plus it is for a few additional languages, like Arabic, if you say Arabic is not European language, but it is to have your own. That's what my opinion, Europe wants their own. I think that's what it is. It does not stand against ChatGPT, but I'm reasonably impressed by ChatGPT. These are the sizes. The European sizes in the billions, and ChatGPT is 1,000 times more. 1,000 times more. That means they are in trillion, half a trillion to 2 trillion. That's the size. But if you want reasonable quality in special languages, and you wanted your own, and you wanted local implementation, data sensitive, regulated environments. Europe is big about regulating. And to me, of course, stupid American slash Russian slash Israeli. So to me, it's just shooting yourself in the foot. Put the regulation and don't allow all these strange things in your networks. That's not an approach. But who am I? Okay, that's a whole Europe against me. Now that's what I have uh, found out as far as all these models that are mentioned here, all these questions, they're all exactly the same question. So we see that. One thing that I really want to show you is, after all, this special platform that I have access to. The special, and I will reveal the secret, it's a Chinese platform It's called Transwarp. So let's go there. Okay, I apologize. But here it is. And okay, Lanza said it's a friend. Thank you. Okay. That's a good discussion. Everybody has their place in the world. That's what I think. But I wanted to show you this special platform. It was right here. We were almost there and we got interrupted. Now here, transport. Maybe I'll tell you honestly the story. I worked at Intel a while ago when they were rolling out their own Hadoop distribution. There was a group of Chinese people who really were implementing it. Well, that's exactly who. They formed a new company. They are now already publicly traded on Shanghai Exchange. I am going there. And they give me this account where you see a lot of similarities to Hugging Face. All right, but that's a Hugging Face that uses a lot of Chinese because they haven't localized that for English as yet. You can look at all the models. They, of course, host their own. Now, to work with it, I will give them virtual machines and they will install their software there. And that's a big platform. What they give you is large databases, including Google's, well, not Google's, but it works like Google's SQL. What is the name of that? The World Database, and all kinds of NoSQL animals, and all of the models. That's essentially what you get, and that's what I wanted to show you as something that I will build on. So one of the things I'm going to do is my Freed. I'm going to have an option to connect to this and to use that. And that is in fact what my first issue or second issue says. It's DB microservice, but it will be running on this Chinese mega super big database. All right, that I think covers it all. Here I am. What I will do is this. That is the list of what we're talking about. We will look more in products, and I will actually, by next week, I definitely will make some progress. I will show you what I'm doing. I will verify your chat. Okay. I will again thank everybody who comes and who discusses that. If we do go to YouTube live, then you will get an announcement, you will get everything. And for now, I'm saying goodbye. Everybody have a good day and a good week. And a good year. Thank you.